Hello everybody, good afternoon, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United versus Burnley preview. We're also going to be talking about quite a few things. We're going to be doing a Q&A as well, but also we're going to be talking about a potential £80 million bid for Wesley Fofana from Leicester, which has come out this evening from French reports that Manchester United are looking at signing him. We're also going to be talking about the Burnley game, how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might line up for this, as well as a week off for United. Is that an excuse that Solskjaer's been talking about? He's not been able to train the team properly because of the amount of games, as well as Cavani. And also, just want to get into, before we do the Q&A, the title question about next year. Should we be winning the title next year? I personally think we should, and I've got a good reason for that. But before we get into this Fofana breaking news, just want to say we are sponsored by Cards Plug for the show today. Thank you very much to Cards Plug. I'm wearing one of these now. Not wearing it. You can't wear it. You can put it on your wall. You can put it on your man cave. They're fully customizable. I'm trying to stop the light shining on it. Fully customizable, so you can put any picture you want on there. You could put me. You could replicate this on your wall if you wanted to. You could put your favourite player on there. You could put yourself on there. You could put your gran on there if you want. You could rate her for Christmas presents. Ratings are fully customisable as well. Pace, shooting, passing, dribbling, defence, physical. You can put anything you like in there out of 100. Your total rating there, your badge. You can even use the new unique United Stand backgrounds that they've got on Cards Plug now, which are exclusive to them. Links in the video description. They're giving away 40% off to United Stand viewers tonight. The link is in the video description for that. And they are fully customisable, like I said. Fantastic quality, really thick. They'll go on your wall. Big shout out to Cards Plug, 40% off. And as I said, fully customisable. Get one for yourself, your gran, your mum, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your mates, birthdays, all sorts of things. Links in the video description. And they are accurate as of when I was 22 years of age. 92 pace, 88 dribbling. I'm actually better defensively. They've underdone me there, but everything else is right. 91 passing, 87 physical. They've got everything right apart from the defence. If they'd knocked that up, I'd probably be 97 rated, which is where I should be. But the proof's in the pudding, and I'll be serving desserts once we're out of lockdown. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Thanks to Cards Plug. Links in the video description for that one. As I said, 40% off with them. And we should be in a situation where we should have the team on the board, which we do. Great. Okay, that's superb. Right, let's get on with the show. I'm going to be starting off with Fofana. Let's start off with Fofana then. So there's a story. Well, we'll talk about the Burnley game in a minute. Did you know that we haven't beaten Burnley at home in 3 years? But did you know we haven't beaten Burnley home and away since 1975? Bloody Burnley, Sean Dyche. I tell you what, I'm going to relish. You better bring a hamburger on Sunday, because I'm going to put some relish on your hamburgers, because I think that we will beat Burnley on Sunday, and I'll explain why in a few minutes' time. We will beat Burnley on Sunday, and they will get beaten twice, which is what they deserve to be, because they're just a northern Stoke. That's what they are. I've said it and I mean it. Did you know Bridge is back? Yes, he is. So anyway, let's get started. I like doing that. Did you know? I like that. That's me. T-shirt. Did you know? But let's start off with Fofana. Say start off. I've been rambling on about stuff for a while. Let's talk about Fofana. So with Fofana, situation with Fofana is that there is a story coming in from Foot Mercato. It's all over the English press tonight, that Manchester United have made first contact with Leicester. It sounds like it sounds like a film for Matthew McConaughey. We've made first contact with Leicester about Fofana. First contact has been made about Fofana. Do you hear me, NASA? Can you hear me? We've made first contact with Fofana. Well, anyway, apparently we've made first contact with Leicester about Fofana, and for an £80 million bid. Now, Fofana is a player that we're all fully aware of. This is a player that Paul Scholes said a few weeks ago we should go and sign. And before I ridicule that, let me just say that it's now in the mainstream media, so it's probably not something to ridicule. But in relation to Fofana, he is a player that Manchester United are apparently looking at. But £80 million, 20 years of age, and he only signed for Leicester less than a year ago. He signed for Leicester at the end of September 2020. We're not in September 2021 yet. He's not even been there for a year. And Manchester United are apparently going to buy him. This story has got more holes than a hedgehog's lilo. It really has. And I know I've used that saying before, but I'm going to use it again, because it has got more holes than a hedgehog's lilo. And you don't know why? You want to know why? This is a load of nonsense. There's loads of levels to this. Now, I like Fofana. I think we've spoken about Fofana on and Mark crisps. I agree with you, Mark. I'm eating your crisps. No way, he says. It's bullshit talk again, and he's absolutely right. High five, Mark Crisp. High five. I agree with you on this. It's absolutely rubbish. It's absolutely nonsense. This is nonsense. It's a nonsense story. And we're going to dismiss this nonsense story right here, right now. Many levels, right? £80 million, right? One, Leicester don't need to sell him because Leicester are a rich club and he's on a 5-year deal and they've not even had him a year. They don't need to sell him. 2, £80 million on a centre-back. We ain't doing that again, especially not a 20-year-old. We're not going to do that. 3, I'm telling you now what I told you at lunchtime. I'm telling you now, if Axel Tuanzebe was 20 years of age, playing for Leicester, he would be doing exactly what Fofana's doing. So, you know what? I'll smoke that pie. I mean, I really don't even know what that means, but I will. Because there is no way in a million years we are going to buy Fofana for £80 million. And there is no way in a million years Leicester are going to sell him to us either. It's absolute nonsense. And I'll say what I said at lunchtime. If Tuanzebe was at Leicester, he'd be doing the same job Fofana's doing. So it's farcical. It's absolutely farcical. So when ex-United players go and get Fofana or let's spend the money, he's worth it. No, absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And I don't even know where the story's coming from. I don't even think Man United are involved in this story. I don't think Manchester United want anything to do with this story. It's so nonsense. But look, Fofana's a good player. But there's absolutely nothing in this. There's absolutely nothing in this. I just had a message. Stop saying there's nothing in it. It looks like it's going to happen. No, I'm only joking. It's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. Fofana's not going to come to Manchester United. It's as simple as that. And I just wanted to put it out there. And I don't think Paul Scholes is a clueless pundit. I think Paul Scholes is a Manchester United fan who probably doesn't watch football and Manchester... Well, he might do, but I don't think he watches it to the extent that you lot watch it. I don't think he analyses the transfer window to the extent you do, because he probably doesn't need to. He's one of the greatest players that Manchester United have had in the last 30 years. He worked his arse off for 20 years to do that. And he probably enjoys being retired now, getting paid good money to talk about football, but doesn't feel the need to consume everything about football 24/7 like most of us do. So I don't think Paul Scholes is a nonsense pundit. I think he was probably asked the question and went, I've seen that Fofana, I quite like him, United should buy him, because he's from an era where United probably did see a player like Fofana and just went and got him. But as I've said many times, Leicester aren't Leicester of 20 years ago when Scholes was playing. When Scholesy was playing, if Leicester had a good centre-back, you probably just tapped him up and went, come to United in the summer, and they went, I'll be there. Whereas now, Leicester are loaded, there's a lot more money in the Premier League, you can't just do a deal for a player that's only just gone there, he's on a 5-year deal, they will want 80 million and they probably wouldn't sell him for that anyway. No, you can't do a deal like that. Welcome to the Members Club, Saul Goodman. I can see in the top left corner, actually, that we're only 20 subscribers away from 17,000. So please subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, we're 15 away now. Right, let's talk about the Burnley game. Saul Goodman, I want to get into your questions tonight as well. So please make sure you get some questions in during the show, because there's quite a lot I want to talk about. But I'm going to start off with Burnley. Bloody Burnley. Bloody Burnley. Get out there, Burnley. Don't be coming down to Manchester United on Sunday, Burnley, and giving it the big un with Wood. I've got Wood and Tarkowski, and I've got Dwight McNeil, and they've actually got a midfielder called Brownhill. That really does reflect what I think Burnley are. Brownhill. Work it out for yourselves. But did you know that Burnley are currently 2 places off the relegation zone? Now, they are 7 points off 14th, which is the relegation. What am I writing 14th off? I've put 16th equals 7 points off 14th. I mean 18th. They're 7 points off 18th. They're not going to go down, Burnley. They're not going to go down, but they are what they are. They are what they are, Burnley. And I'm trying to be polite and say that they are basically a Stoke that calling... In Stoke, they probably call a BAP. They probably call it something else. I don't know. But look, Burnley play 4-4-2, lump it up to Wood. Lump it up to Wood and Barnes. And that's what they do. And that's what they'll do against United on Sunday. But this is going to be the first time we've beaten Burnley home and away since 1975 on Sunday. And it's the first time we're going to beat them at Old Trafford for 3 years. We're going to beat them on Sunday. I'm not having this nonsense anymore. I always thought it was me who had an issue with Burnley on FIFA. Man United we've got an issue with Burnley, and on Sunday, get the Undertaker out of retirement. We are burying this Burnley voodoo thing on Sunday. We're going to absolutely bury it. Rest in peace, Burnley messing us up at Old Trafford, and move on to bigger and greater things. So how do I think we'll line up? Well, look, I put a team on the line. I put a team over there. I think he's got an issue on Sunday, because to put Pogba in the team, I've put him back in the midfield, which I don't really think we should do. But I was thinking, how is he going to play Pogba, Rashford, Greenwood, Bruno and Cavani? And he's going to want to play McTominay as well, because he didn't play him in the week and he'll be getting withdrawal symptoms. So McTominay will definitely start. Obviously Henderson will be in goal, no issue with that. Swap it with De Gea, that's fine. We'll do that. I suppose it's a little bit interesting with the goalkeeper situation, because we haven't got a midweek game in Europe, so that means Henderson will play tomorrow and against Leeds before De Gea plays against Roma. But that's just the way Ollie's done it at the moment, so no issues with that. Obviously, Maguire will come back into the team as well. But it's in the front positions that I think it gets quite interesting. That team will beat Burnley. That team will beat Burnley. Sean Dyche couldn't get one Burnley player into that team. So and you wouldn't be and you wouldn't be the manager either, Sean. I'm better than Solskjaer. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm better than Solskjaer. You're not. Solskjaer's better than you. Get in line. But I look at that team that will be good enough to win, and I do like Paul Pogba in the midfield. I don't think Pogba and McTominay work, by the way. I don't think they complement each other as well as a Pogba and Fred or a Pogba and Matic. But I think that's where he's going to have to put Pogba, because he will play Rashford on Sunday. We know he shouldn't play Rashford, but he will. You could give Rashford a full week off, but he won't do it. He'll play Rashford. Rashford will say he's fit and he'll play him. But as I said, I don't think Rashford and Greenwood provide the service for Cavani that Pogba does if he plays where Rashford or Greenwood is. So he might not start Greenwood, and he might play McFred and bench Greenwood and put Pogba off the right. But I don't know. He might do that. He might play McFred and put Pogba where Greenwood is and bench Greenwood. But Pogba's going to start. And the question is, where will Pogba play? Apparently we are close to signing Varane according to Sport Bible. Is this true, says Ben? I don't think so. I don't think United have made anything. Mark, check Twitter. More news on Man United, says Jaylings. Oh, I don't know why I bother. I actually tweeted earlier on. There's nothing wrong. What was it I tweeted earlier on? I said something along the lines of, there's a difference between giving up and knowing when you've had enough. I'm getting to that point. I'm getting to the point where I've had enough of this. Check Twitter. Twitter's probably got 1 billion tweets on it. What part of Twitter do you want me to check, Jaylings fam? I'm so fed up and tired of being told to check Twitter. What part of Twitter am I checking? I don't know. I don't know. Christian Falk has said that Manchester United have a competitor in the transfer poker for Raphael Varane. Thomas Tuchel is also interested in the player of Real Madrid for a transfer to Chelsea. Well, that's the end of that. That's the end of that. If Christian Falk is right there, then that's the end of that. If Chelsea are in the race, well, we can pack up and go home. If that's the bit of news you wanted to tell me about, forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Really, forget about it. If Manchester United are in the competition with Chelsea for Varane, then that's the end of that. We can't beat... If Chelsea are genuinely in for him, we can't beat Chelsea to get any players. So that would be the end of that. And imagine Varane... You know what? It makes total sense. Varane at Chelsea. Oh. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, if they were to get... Chelsea have got so many good players. If Chelsea were to get Varane... I can't lie about this. You know, sometimes with certain players, you can't lie. You can't go, oh, I never wanted them anyway. Varane is the elite number one choice. He is. If he goes to Chelsea, that's massive. So, I mean, Christian Falk has come out and said that Chelsea have entered the race for Varane effectively, and he's done that in the last couple of minutes. If that is true, that becomes a very, very, very hard deal. And look, Munier says, well, Koundé's free for us, but Varane is better than Koundé. He is. He is. 100% he is. We beat Chelsea to Lukaku, Mark, says Roy Law. Yeah, that worked out well, didn't it? So Torres or Mings we're left with, says Gabriel Noel. Well, what did I say this morning? What did I say this morning? What did I say yesterday? I looked in the camera and I said, Manchester United board, you are incompetent. You will not get Varane. I mocked them. I tried to not intimidate them. I tried to antagonise them. I tried to lure them into my trap. I tried to say, you're rubbish. You can't do these sort of deals because you're incompetent. And I wanted them to go, ooh, right. Right, we'll put my calculator down. We'll prove him wrong. But no, they won't. They won't. I'd love to get Varane, but I don't think they will. And if it's true that Chelsea are in for him, then I think that's the end of that. And what a good signing. The thing is, I could imagine Varane in a Chelsea shirt way more than I can imagine Manchester United buying him, to be fair. But we'll see what happens with that. Does Varane want to leave or Madrid don't want him? No, Madrid want him. He wants to leave apparently, but I don't think he actually will. I don't think he will. Koundé is also wanted by Chelsea, says Akshat. Koundé is not better than Varane. No way. If Koundé is better than Varane, why does Varane play for France and Koundé still plays for the under-21s? I put Luke Shaw out of the team by mistake. I thought I took everybody out from the Europa League, but I didn't. Luke Shaw will be in the team, of course he will. So thanks to everyone in the live comments. But look, in relation to the Burnley game, just very, very quickly, I predict we're going to win 2-0. I don't think we will concede. I think Burnley are a team that don't score many goals. I think they're third bottom for scoring goals this year. They're in the bottom three. However, they don't concede as many as others. They've conceded less goals than quite a few teams above them, like Palace and Leeds. But they don't score many goals. They don't concede many goals, considering they're in the bottom six. So I would say Manchester United will win this one 2-0. They'll be hard-working. They'll be physical. But I think the way we're playing at the moment, we'll get the 3 points. And, look, maybe I'm self-convincing myself here because I'm like, it's Burnley and I'm trying to just keep it low down and keep the blood pressure down. But we should win this game. We always should beat Burnley at home, but I think we will win this game. And I think that we've got enough competition for places at the moment that there's quite, there's a lot. I've noticed this with United recently, that there seems to be a little bit, we seem to be playing a little bit better. We're creating more chances for our number 9. And of course, we're getting towards a Europa League final. And if you're a player now, I've played in teams, not like Manchester United, obviously. I do have a Wikipedia page, but it doesn't have any footballing statistics on it, unfortunately. But I have played in teams when I was younger, and you get to this point of the season where there's a cup final coming up, and there's maybe 15 or 16 of you that have been rotated through the season. You suddenly start to think, that cup final's coming up. I want to nail my place down, and it starts getting everybody playing a little bit better. And I think that you're going to see that from United on Sunday. I think we're going to start to see players thinking about that Europa League final, thinking about a winner's medal, thinking about winning a trophy. And I think we'll start to see players respond to that. And I don't think we're going to see these stupid losses to Burnley. You know what? As I said that, I can even see that being clipped up on Monday morning, and we've lost 2-0 again. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't. I think we'll be comfortable, and I think that the players are starting to respond to the fact that they can sense what we can probably sense, that there is an opportunity here to get to a final and then win a trophy, which we haven't done for a couple of years now. So I do think it's a big opportunity for us. Just talking about that opportunity, though, before I get into the Q&A, there was a couple of things that I wanted to bring in to this that you might respond to as well. I saw an article in The Athletic talking about this is United's first week off in ages. No one's had as little time off as we've had this season. We've got a week off between Burnley and Leeds. There are Premier League games going on. Liverpool play Leeds on Monday night. Chelsea play Brighton on Tuesday. I think there are games on Wednesday, Thursday, but we don't play midweek. So, and I think it was Laurie Whitwell saying that, Solskjaer, quoting Solskjaer, saying that it's been really difficult because we've not been able to do any tactical work between games. We've had to do it actually in games. I personally think this is a really bad excuse. And it's only my opinion, but I think it's a bad excuse because I don't think that having more time on the training ground would have benefited this team that's already in second. I mean, what are we supposed to believe? I mean, on one hand, we've overachieved and we're second in the league after a bad summer transfer window that wasn't Solskjaer's fault. But on the other hand, we're meant to believe that if we had more time in between games, we'd actually be playing better football. I don't agree with that. I don't. And it's only my personal interpretation. I think we've done fantastically well in the season that we've had. And yeah, we've played a lot of games and we haven't had weeks off, and I understand that. But I don't think the tactical side of things would have made anything different. We've played a certain way this season that has accumulated as a lot of points. We've played that back six a lot. We've kept clean sheets, we've stopped chances going in, and we've nicked goals at the other end. We've won countless games by 1 goal. And I think that's because we've had to play this way. I think if we'd had more time on the training ground, I don't think we would have played more expressive football. And I think if we had done, we might not have had the points anyway. It's almost as if people think that if we'd had more time on the training ground, we'd have played better football and we would have won the title. We're not going to win the title with this team. I don't agree with that. Where I think it would have been nice to have the odd week off would have been that Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Aaron Wan-Bissaka would have been a little bit fresher. I think players like that have been overplayed, and I think that has had an impact. I don't think training on the training ground would have made a massive amount of difference. We might have played a bit better football, but I don't think we would have accumulated more points because I think we've done fantastically well in the circumstances anyway. So I'm not digging Ollie out there, but what I'm saying is I think we've done fantastically well in relation to points accumulation anyway. I don't think with the odd week off here or there it would have made a massive amount of difference. I think rest for some of our players might have made a bit of difference. And of course, the big thing I would say is rotation. Rotation hasn't happened, and rotation should have happened more, as I've said before. Which leads me nicely into what I wanted to say as well. The next season, I think it was Owen Hargreaves was saying on BT the other night that Manchester United, even if they get a couple of players, won't win the title next season. And I nearly agreed with it. And then I went, no, I'm not going to agree with that. We should win the title next year. I'm not saying we will, but we should win the title next year. How many more years are we going to put it off? How many more years are we going to say that United are a work in progress? Because I can't remember a club being a work in progress for this many years. I can't remember a big club, whether it be Juventus in Italy or Barcelona in Spain or PSG or Bayern Munich. I can't remember the biggest club in each country saying we're basically on hold for 4 years now. We're building for 4 years. They don't do that. How many more years are we going to put off that we can't win the league next year? Let's be realistic. I know it's going to be very hard. I know that. But I seem to recall 3 years ago that we finished second and Man City finished first by a long way under Mourinho. We were second, Man City were first. By a long way. God only knows where Liverpool were, third or fourth, I don't remember. But they were miles off Man City. They had a good summer, and the following season they pushed them to the bloody hilt. So where's all this bloody 3 years crap? I'm fed up with this 3 years crap, or we can't win it next year. If you give somebody an excuse, they'll jump into that sack that's got excuse written all over it. I'm not saying we need to win the league next year, but I'm not saying that it's acceptable not to. How many more years are we going to say, well, you can't expect them to win the league next year? People seem to forget. Did anybody predict Leicester were going to win the league? No. Nobody predicted Liverpool were going to win the league. Nobody expected Liverpool to challenge Man City the way they did that year I've just spoken about it. Like, at some point, you've got to do it. And I will not make excuses for United next season. I think that we could challenge for a title next year. Everyone starts on 0 points. We're second in the league. I know we're a long way off, and I accept that. But as I've said many a times, if we have the right summer transfer window, then why can we not challenge for a title next year? The problem is, do we trust us to have the right transfer window, I suppose? That's it. Dia says, I believe we need to push Man City as far and get that title next season. Ollie knows that, says Dia. Well, where do you go from second place? George Carl says 8 points is not too much. Well, exactly, George. I think if we can keep that points tally between us and Man City to 8 points, then a good transfer window surely closes 8 points. And also, let's not forget, Ollie keeps moaning about not being able to train tactics. Well, next season you will. So with Ollie having more times to train tactics and a really good summer, maybe we can close that 8 points. So I don't want to see United fans saying, no, we can't do it. Now, I might say that at the start of the season. I said it this year. I said we won't get top 4. That was made up on the summer transfer window we'd had. But if we have a good summer transfer window, I don't see why we can't do it. To be honest, I don't. The condensed schedule benefits City too. Their squad depth is more important this year than it has ever been. Says after fractures, I agree with you. I don't know why I didn't predict Man City were going to win the league, because ultimately they've got 2 first teams, haven't they? And their reserve team is better than most teams' first team. It's bloody Burnley, says Isaac Jones. Ollie training tactics. He's been a manager for 10 years, says Marvin AM. And all I can ever say about more time on the training ground is I don't think Tuchel's had much time on the training ground, but you can definitely see a change in Chelsea in a very, very short period of time. And Ollie didn't have much time on the training ground when he first came in, but that first 3 months that he had as an interim was superb. So you can get your tactics across quick. Mark, on a serious note, do you really think Ollie can win us the league, says Jay Ling's fam? Yes and no. I don't believe he can win us the title at the moment, but I do believe that we are improving under him. I definitely think the graph is going up, but he can only win the league if he gets the proper backing in the summer. George Kyle says no. If Varane goes to Chelsea and not Manchester United, that's the sort of indicator that we can never win the title at this year. And I tell you what, if that happens, I will be fuming. I really will be fuming, because it doesn't matter what you think about Jose Mourinho as a United manager. It doesn't matter what you think about Van Gaal. It doesn't matter what you think about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. When we need a centre-back and Varane is leaving Real Madrid and he goes from Real Madrid to fucking Chelsea, that is the board. That is the board and the Glazers. That is not Solskjaer. Do you think Solskjaer sat there wiping his arse after a shit going, I don't really want Varane. I want Koundé. Or I want bloody Torres. I don't know why I've mentioned wiping his arse. But the point is, do you think Solskjaer sat there going, I don't want Varane? Of course he wants bloody Varane. And if he doesn't get Varane, is it on Solskjaer or is it on the board? And this is where the ceiling is for me. I think United's ceiling under any coach is second place. I don't think we can do any better than that. I don't care who your manager is, Nagelsmann, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think we can go above second place. The only way to go above second place is to get good players in. Well, if Varane leaves Real Madrid and goes to Chelsea instead of United, that's the board. That's not Solskjaer. You can't do it. You can't. You literally cannot do it. You can't. Absolutely cannot do it with second-hand goods. You can't compete with somebody who's getting better equipment than you and expect to win. It doesn't matter what area of life you're in. If you're getting second-hand goods and they're getting prime goods, then they're going to be better than you in most cases. Football isn't David and Goliath. Sometimes it is, but not over a 38 Premier League game season. Sancho and Varane signing will win the league, says Himanshu. Yeah, but you still got McFred in the midfield, mate. And what transfer window will be good enough for you to challenge title next season? How many players do we need to buy realistically, says Sumya. Look, I can give you... There are so many different scenarios, and I'm sure you've got them there. But for me, we're 8 subscribers away from 17,000, by the way. As you can see in the top left-hand corner. I just noticed the number there. But I'll give you a few scenarios then. In what situation do I think Manchester United could challenge for the title next year? This situation, no. If we buy nobody, no. Erling Haaland, no. He won't win us the title on his own. Harry Kane on his own, no. So why would you spend 150 million quid? Those one players with that squad won't win us the league. Raphael, Varane and Sancho, I don't think so. Don't think the midfield would be good enough. Raphael and Sancho and Declan Rice, yes. That could challenge for a title. Bissouma, Sancho and Koundé, yeah, I think that could work as well. Rice and Sancho, no, we need a centre back. So you can see what I need. I need a CDM and a centre back. Varane and Rice, no right winger. Yeah, maybe we could challenge for a title with that. We might need to get a little bit lucky with injuries, and Ollie would definitely have to utilise people like Diallo and Hannibal next season. But yeah, I still think we could challenge for a title. But if we don't get a centre-back and a CDM, I don't think we can. I think that they are absolutely essential. And Solskjaer needs to be on that plane for that as well. He does. We want Sancho, says Jaden. Look, I'd like us to buy Sancho, but I do think that the centre-back and the CDM is more important. Antonio says we don't need a centre-back. I mean, I'm attracted to this comment. I don't want to take it out for a date and buy it flowers, but I'm intrigued by it, Antonio. We don't need a centre-back. I don't know what you mean. I really don't know what you mean. Why don't we need a centre-back? Because Magaluf are good enough? We have overprotected those centre-backs this year. We have played defensive football to protect those centre-backs. If you want to progress as an attacking side, you've got to leave those centre-backs to do the job that centre-backs do. You can't bubble wrap them all season. They haven't got the pace to be left on their own. Eric Bay's not reliable. He doesn't use Twansebi. So, we need to buy a centre-back. And also, we need to buy a centre-back because if we need a centre-back and somebody of the quality of a Koundé or a Varane or a Koulibaly is available and we let rivals buy them, we're making ourselves weaker. So we do need to buy a centre-back. We've a great midfield, but better defence and attack can help us challenge for title, says Himanshu. What's this great midfield? Again, I mean, look, it's all about opinion, but you can't just come out with statements, we've got a great midfield. Based on what? Fairy tales? What great midfield have we got? Because midfield to me is not Bruno and Pogba because they're playing as attacking midfielders at the moment. Our midfield is Matic, Fred and McTominay. Great does not attach itself to those three people. Not in my opinion. How close were we to getting Longstaff and whose idea was it to get him? Hey, you know what, J-Lings fam? You know what? You've probably just exposed a weakness there. I was thinking about this a couple of months ago. Remember when United really did want Longstaff from Newcastle? Like, we really wanted him. And we were laughing about it at the time. I think it was 2 summers ago. But we genuinely, legitimately wanted him. And the only reason we didn't do it is because Newcastle said they wanted 35 million. I tell you what, I bet Newcastle wished they took the packet of crisps for him then. He's crap. He doesn't even get in the Newcastle team. And United were willing to pay millions for him. And thankfully, Newcastle outpriced us. I mean, what a dodgy signing he would have been. Who scouted? Whose idea was that? I mean, yeah, you're right. Whose idea was that? What a bad signing he would have been. Like, I can't even dwell on it, but we did want him. Do you think we could have won the league if we signed Sancho? The amount of easy points we missed, especially early on, says Hugo Boss. I don't think Sancho on his own could have won us the league this year, no. I think that Man City were always set up to win it when you look at it logically. The fact that they've got so much depth and they can rotate and they've got so many good players, I don't think anybody could have stopped Man City this year. Mark, no, I think even if Liverpool hadn't had the injuries to Van Dijk and Matip, I don't think they could have lived with City this year. Mark, no matter whom and how many we buy, unless Ollie uses the bench wisely, we won't win. Remember, we will be in the Champions League next season, says Amit. Thank you. Keep the questions coming in. We're on to the Q&A now, so thank you very much. It was Sean Longstaff who wasn't. Sean or Matty, they're both crap, Claude. With all due respect, they're not that good. It wasn't the ginger one. I can't remember. I think it was Matty we wanted. I don't know. Neither of them play anymore, do they? So I can't believe we were looking at that. Do you think Man United will ever get on the top of the world again? Says OA. Not unless we're going to the North Pole. City are just superior talent-wise. That's a fact, says Being Ricky. Well, being Ricky, that tends to happen when you've got... It was Sean Longstaff, says George. That tends to happen when you've got a lot of good players. Like, I don't think it's... I don't think there's anybody out there who, unless they're absolutely stupid, who would say that Man City don't have the best squad in the Premier League by a very long way. They are both crap as well. We wanted Sean Longstaff for 50 million, says Rohan. No, I think we wanted him for about 25, but Newcastle wanted 35, so we didn't do it, thank God. But 25 would have been 22.5 million too much. 24.5, sorry. Mark, what's your opinion on Lucas Vazquez? I don't rate him. I don't rate him, so we'll probably buy him. Hello, Mark. Please read my message as I wonder why you've not been verified on W, says Lukey. I don't know what that means. Key questions coming in. It's Q&A. What if signings flop? Would you be Ollie out? Says Godcraft. No, I mean, look, I think the only reason I would be Ollie out next season is if the football's the same as this season and we drop out the top four. You know, basically a replication of what happened to Mourinho 3 years ago. He got second place, and then the following season we deteriorated. I don't think it's a dirty word, isn't it, to be a fan of a club and say that a manager's not good enough. But at the end of the day, if you're at a restaurant and you order a burger and chips and the burger's cold, why can't you complain about it? We are. I think people forget, as football fans, we are subjective and we have a right to critique. There is loyalty, of course, but does loyalty supersede what's best for your football club? At the start of next season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will have been here 2.5 years. What's the average lifespan of a Premier League manager? And when I mean lifespan, I mean like don't tell me 72. I mean like in relation to their Premier League tenure. How long does what's the average tenure of a Premier League manager? And tenure means how long they're in a job. And I would argue, well, I can't argue because I don't know, but I would say it's probably somewhere around 2 years. Well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will have been at the job 2.5 years at the start of next season. If we finish second and we win a Europa League, but then in next season we are, struggling to get into the top four, I think that's long enough to say, right, you've had 2.5 years at one of the biggest clubs in the world. You've done your bit, you've hit your ceiling, and now you're falling down the stairs. Bye-bye. I wouldn't have any guilt towards that. I do feel guilty saying it now, but I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why we can't be predictive about things or hypothetical about things. And, I'm not scared to say sell this player, sack that manager. I've done it before on this channel. I've done it before the channel existed. I've got no issue with that. But we're not at that point now. But I think after 2.5 years, same thing happened to Mourinho. How many years had Mourinho been at the club when he got the sack? Was it 2.5 years? I think it was. Exactly 2.5 years, wasn't it? He came in. First year he won the Europa League. Second year he got us to second. 2.5 years at Christmas he was sacked. So Ollie has been at the club in August, the same time that Mourinho was when he got sacked. And in that time, Mourinho deserved to get sacked. He took us to second place after 2 years. He won us the Europa League after 2 years. But at the start of the third year, you could see a decline. It was time to go. We always get players a season later. It might happen with Sancho. Then hopefully next season we can get Ben White, says Akil. Who will be negotiating transfers, director of football or judge? Both are incompetent. Are we actually in a better position with better personnel this window, says Benson. Matt Judge is going to be negotiator. He's the director of negotiations, isn't he? Jack Brown says, Mark, what about playing Bruno, Paul and Donny behind the striker? Also, are Juventus any better than us right now? I think Paul will stay or go Madrid. They are starting to hit form again, says Jack Brown 852. Look, all I can say is this summer, I said it on the watch along yesterday, all I can say is that this summer, one way or another, is going to be absolutely relentless. So make sure you subscribe because we're only eight away from 17. But on a serious note, it will be relentless because nothing could happen, but we could spend the summer talking about it. Like Sancho will be linked to us, Haaland will be linked to us, and they probably won't even come. You've then got the centre-back that we are going to sign, the CDM that we might sign, the backup right-back that we might sign. There'll all be loads of players linked to that. The goalkeeper that we're going to sell. What's going to happen with Pogba, stay or go? Loads of stories about that. Cavani, stay or go. There's going to be so much going on this summer, and hopefully it'll all be with a positive tint. But even if it isn't, there'll still be loads of stuff going on. I mean, we had a crap summer last summer. It was still loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of stories about positivity that never really came to pass apart from Van der Beek. Lose Europa League final so Chelsea don't win the Champions League, says Owen Smith. How does that work? I don't know. Susan Brandon says, I really hope we don't get Ben White. Good player, but I would not take him at United. No. I mean, look, what I'd say to that, Susan, is that if we get Ben White and Chelsea get Varane, that's like Chelsea acting like a big club and we're acting like Southampton. Do you think Ollie plays a good football, but the only problem is the board of the club that makes his job hard, says Davy. I am doing Grand Theft Auto tonight at 10:30 on Twitch, Mark Goldbridge TV. I mean, I don't want to dodge that question. I think Solskjaer can play a good brand of football. I think the question is, why doesn't he? He's proven that he can. I was very impressed with the PSG game where we played quite well for an hour and then he brought Pogba on in Paris and we took the game away from them. Tactically, I thought it was superb. And that was against Tuchel, wasn't it, at the time? So I think Solskjaer can play a good brand of football. I think he plays not to lose. I think he plays for results, which is not, there's no problem with that, but I don't think he plays the United way. I don't know why that is. I personally think it's a lack of trust, which is why he overuses players. Mark, I have a friend who has info from Leicester and no bid made, just phoned and he would know. They're cool. Andy and Bruno's my German Shepherd. I mean, thank you for the super chat, but you didn't need to waste your time on that, mate. I mean, ringing a mate up. There's no way that we're in for Fofana. Mark, I think the priority should be a CDM, a centre-back and a backup right-back. Try to keep players like Cavani and Pogba. Need to utilise Ahmed at right wing instead of Sancho, says Sumya. Thanks for the super chat, Sumya. Mrs. Solskjaer, you won't get any food today. Ollie, why? Mrs. Solskjaer, because you're not making squad rotation, says Pratic. Mark, United are signing Sancho, Varane and Basuma. Pogba will sign a new contract. Cavani will leave along with Lingard, Bay, Jones, Mata and Matic, says Chris Pankhurst. I think we'd all like to see that happen. Imagine the midfield of Longstaff and McTominay. Also remember, Ollie said some players won't be part of the success he achieves. Which players, says Jayling's fan. I don't know. I don't know. And I would, to United's credit, I really don't know. I don't know whether it's a good or a bad thing, but you could perceive it as a good thing because nobody knows, but maybe they don't know themselves, which is a bad thing. Or you could perceive it as a bad thing because we haven't even made our mind up. But I don't know who we're selling in the summer. I don't know whether Lingard's going or staying. I don't know which goalkeeper's going. I don't know whether Pogba's going. I don't know whether Cavani's going. And that's just 4 deals. I don't know whether we're buying a CDM. I don't know whether we're buying a good centre-back or a shit one. I don't know whether we're buying a striker. I don't know whether we're buying a right winger. There's a lot of question marks around Manchester United. I would argue that a lot of that, because we know United leak information like a sieve, I would argue that we don't know whether Pogba's going, we don't know whether Cavani's going, we don't know whether Lingard's staying, we don't know which goalkeeper's going, we don't know whether we're buying a CDM, we don't know whether we're buying a striker, we don't know whether we're buying a right winger, and we don't know what centre-back we're getting. That's 8 things. I would argue that those 8 things we don't know about because the club doesn't know yet, which is not organised. It's not organisation, is it? I do not know, but my opinion is we do not know what we're doing on those 8 things. And I guarantee you now, if it was Bayern Munich, they would know what they were doing on at least 4 because they're a well-run club. I don't think United know what they're doing in this summer. I don't think they know what people are doing, and I don't think they know what they're doing, which is, to be harsh, why I sit here and say to the board, you won't buy Varane, you're incompetent, because you don't know what you're doing. It should say that on the board, on the board door. We don't know what we're doing, because I don't think you do. I don't think you do. But you look, I'm all for second chances. I'll be the first one to stand up and applaud them if they do good business this summer. It's not like, some people take criticism and they get moody about it and they react by going, or some people just get busy working hard. Like, if someone criticises me, sometimes I might react to it, but a lot of the time I'm like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong. And that's what United need to do. Prove us wrong, and then you will get the praise. Very easy to solve the situation. But I think United, traditionally over the last 8 years, they get criticised and they spend a lot of time trying to spin plates to make them sound like they're good. Actually, just go and be good. Why try and, what was that? Isn't it Neil Ashton that we appointed a year ago? I pretty, not really heard about him, have we? But wasn't he brought in as the PR spin, the guy to make Man United look good? Well, if he's still in the job, Neil, why don't you just advise them to do good things instead of trying to manipulate good things like, stories about Mourinho? Oh, that'll make people like us. Why don't you just go and do good things? Why don't you keep Paul Pogba? Why don't you keep Cavani? Why don't you buy Sancho? Why don't you buy a good centre-back and a CDM? Do good things and your popularity will go up. But try and manipulate fans and not everyone will fall for it. Do you think James plus 20 million for Rafinha, and if Pogba wants to leave, then Pogba and Varane swap? Also get Rice for 80 million. Can we do it? Says Amit. Man United can do a lot of things. I was on a group chat this afternoon and people were talking about swap deals. Siddhant says, I want Bruno to carry this team just like Brian Robson did. When United had no one, we had Brian Robson. He was our only hope during those times, says Siddhant. If we get Arsenal in the final, do you think we will win because we have a bad record against them under Ollie, says Owen. I don't mind getting Arsenal in the final. I think it'd be very exciting, but you know, they have got a good record against us. I don't think any United fan would go into it going, yeah, we're definitely going to win. Do you think that Man City will be this good even without Pep? No. Do you think we can ever win the Premier League with the Glazers in charge? No, Druv, I don't think we can win the Premier League with the Glazers in charge. I don't think that they provide the platform for a manager to succeed. Mark, read my text, mate. My info is from some person at the club. No official bid yet. I know, Andy, you've told us twice. I agree with you. Hi, Mark. Is Grand Theft Auto today? Yes, Eddie. About 10:30 on Twitch for that. But I've said this before. I'm sure people remember me saying this. That in relation to swap deals, I mean, look, Fabrizio Romano himself has said that swap deals are a good idea in the current market because not a lot of people have got a lot of money. So if you haven't got money, you use something else that's tangible, like a player. So swap deals are definitely something that clubs can do. And it's a good thing to do, swap deals, because if you're Barcelona and you need players, and if you're PSG or no, not PSG, but you know, you're Real Madrid and you need players, or Juventus, you can swap between each other, and you can give them something they want that you don't want, and you can get something that you want that they don't want, and that's quite simplistic. But swap deals can happen. And Manchester United could do swap deals. Look, I don't think Anthony Martial's going to go, but if he did, he'd be a very good player to use in a swap deal because you're never going to get the 60, 70 million that he was maybe worth a year ago, but you could hide that value in a swap deal. And maybe, you know, Sevilla, Koundé, you know, something like that. Varane, Pogba, as you mentioned, Rice, Lingard, Henderson, or, you know, whatever. You know, there are things that could be done. The reason I don't think United will do swap deals, and I don't think we'll see any significant swap deals, is because when you do swap deals, there is no money moving about. And I think if United were offered Varane for Pogba or 40 million for Pogba, they'd probably take the 40 million for Pogba because then that's 40 million coming into the club, which means 40 million going in towards debt repayments, maybe a bit of dividends. United always want money coming in. To them, a swap deal doesn't bring money in. So it's not really what suits a business. We're a business, we're not a football club. A football club would go, ooh, Pogba wants to go, we need a centre-back, Varane's one of the best available, let's do that deal. We don't want Pogba to go, but that makes sense. Pogba goes, we get Varane, we've done some good business there without spending any money. That's what a football club does. A business goes, hold on a minute, Varane for Pogba, well, we're in the same situation as we were. And Solskjaer's going, well, no, we're not. Pogba wants to leave and I've got a centre-back. No, but financially we're no better off because no money's come in. And that's why I don't think United will do swap deals. In a hypothetical world, would you swap James for Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Reece James for Aaron Wan-Bissaka? No. Look, I like Reece James. I think he's more rounded as a right-back at the moment. But I've got no issues with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. As I said the other day, I think the first 8 months he was at the club, he was absolutely brilliant. One of the best signings in relation to form I've seen in a long time. He came in and he was flawless. We had lockdown and something went wrong. And look, Jesse Lingard spoke about off-field issues. I don't know. There was something about Wan-Bissaka and a girl and pictures, wasn't there? I don't know what. I mean, I'm speculating, but what I'm saying is I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a very good player. I just think his consistency has dropped off a little bit. But having said that, I think he's been better this season than he was after lockdown at the end of last season. There's been some really good performances. There's still been some bad performances. I think positionally he gets found out a lot. But as we saw last week, sometimes he gets criticised positionally. But if you watch it just before, he's maybe been pulled towards the striker. And then therefore he's not near the winger, which is not his fault. That's the centre-back's fault. So I think Wan-Bissaka's got a lot of potential to be a very, very good right-back for us. And I do agree with Ollie that if you think about it, he's a couple of years younger than Luke Shaw. And you look at the path Luke Shaw's been on, I've got no problem with Wan-Bissaka. I think Reece James is a very good right back, but I'm not going to throw players out the club. If the board buy Basuma, there's a chance we still play McFred. If the board buy Koundé, we might still play Magaluf. Ollie's judgment is just as dubious as Woodward's negotiation skills. This isn't all on the board, says Anno. No, you're spot on, Anno. You know, it's not. There's always two sides to a story. Mark, don't you think Van der Beek is the matured version of Jude Bellingham? Says Siddharth. I don't know about that. I don't know. I think they're very different types of players, to be honest. Mark, if United buy Ben White or Mings, how will you react and what does that mean for the future of Manchester United, says Jay Lings fam. Look, mate, to be honest with you, if we bought Mings or White, I'd wish them all the best because that's what you have to do. I never wanted Matic. I didn't want Lukaku. But I still was like, well, you know, they're United players now. I don't agree with it, but you've got to get on with it. What I have learned is that just because you buy a bad player, you can't just go, well, that's it, we're getting relegated, because that very rarely happens. I've seen United, I've learnt my lesson with United team news. The team news comes out an hour before kickoff. It's got McFred and Magaluf, and you go, we're screwed. And then they'll go and get a clean sheet. So it doesn't mean we're not going to win. But if we do get a Ben White or a Tyrone Mings, we're not going to win a league title. I would say that. Hi Mark, I would be happy with Torres. I watch Spanish League regularly. He's very impressive. I rate him higher than Koundé. Only Varane is better, says Thomas. Well, you're not the first person to say that, Thomas, to be fair. You're not the first person to say that. Although some people do call him the Spanish Lindelof. You're not the first person to say that. Chelsea linked with Varane, Mark, says Matthew. Yeah, I know, we've spoken about that. That's very, very worrying. I mean, to be honest with you, it's coming from Christian Falk. He has been right on things in the past. If Chelsea are in for Varane, we've lost. But I thought we'd lost anyway. I didn't know this morning that Chelsea were in for him, and I didn't know yesterday morning that Chelsea were in for him. And I spoke about on both the morning shows, and I said United won't get Varane. And I didn't know about Chelsea. Now I do know about Chelsea. I'm even more confident that we won't get Varane. He's exactly the right signing, but we won't do it for that reason. We don't get exactly the right signing. We don't get the number one. We get the number 4 or 5, and Varane would be the number 1. We won't do it. The sad thing is, we won't do it, but one of our rivals will. And I don't know how you're meant to succeed in a league where you don't get the number 1 target, you get number 3 or 4, but one of your rivals gets number 1. How are you supposed to succeed? How are you supposed to succeed when the number 1 target goes to one of your rivals all the time? It makes it increasingly harder. And let's not forget, we're going to finish. This isn't Man City. This is Chelsea. Chelsea are getting stronger than us, and they're behind us. So does second become third? If Liverpool are better next year, does third become fourth? If you know, we're in that precarious position in fourth, you're just waiting and hoping that somebody below you, Leicester doesn't get any bottle, Spurs don't actually perform. Don't worry about Arsenal; they're a long way behind. But you know, maybe second becomes fourth next year. Where is Cal the Dragon hiding, Mark? Says the wee primary 7. Thanks for the super chat. Hi Mark, have you seen Tony of Brentford? He's the championship highest scorer. He's 24. Would you take him at United? It would be a cheaper striker option. I think the days of Man United taking a championship player on are probably limited. I mean, you think about Dan James. You know, he was very cheap. I don't think we would go for that sort of a solution, really, to be honest with you. If I'm honest. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. Really enjoying the show. And make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're very close to going past... oh, we've done it. We've done it already. Look, it's just changed, actually. Bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. Thank you. Of course, the Burnley game is on Sunday. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Manchester United. We've spoken about Fofana and we've spoken about Varane. Let me just remind you, though, big shout-out to Cards Plug. It's upside down. You can get a massive 40% off one of these. If you've got kids or husbands or dads or sisters or mothers that like this sort of thing, they're totally customizable Cards Plug cards. You can even use, they've got different backgrounds, but these are unique United stand backgrounds. You can get them in red, you can get the green and gold. Totally customizable, so you can put anybody's picture on there. You could even put mine if you wanted to, but you could put yours with your own little customizable stats there. And your own badge. You can even have the United Stand badge if you want. Really thick material, so it'll go on your wall or wherever you want. And you can get a massive 40% off by using the link in the video description and the code that's there as well. 40% off, very, very good price now with 40% off. And these are fantastic little things for, well, they're not that little, are they? Quite big compared to my head, and I've got a big head. But yeah, if you're into your football, love it. I've got about 8 of them now. Really, really good. Links in the video description. Thanks very much to Cards Plug. 40% off. Grand Theft Auto is past 10 today, Mark. Said that. Yes, it is. Yeah, I got one of them too. 99 overall, of course, as Galaxy. Well, you can always lie. Do you think a formation change would benefit the players? Not really. Tom Lawton says 92 pace. Bollocks. Yeah, I'm still quicker than Harry Maguire, but I'd probably... A true reflection on my pace is probably 64 now. But that was, I went with prime Goldbridge there. Prime Goldbridge. Mark, the standard of this club have dropped a lot since the time we last won the league, says Alex Riddle. And I see a 2-1 or a 1-0 win on Sunday, Greenwood and James, says Cedarwood. We will win, and then that will get the gap down to 8 points. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Really enjoyed the show tonight. Really have enjoyed it. So make sure you smash a like and subscribe. We're back in the morning, of course, with the morning show at 10:30. We'll have the 8 o'clock show tomorrow night. I'm also doing Chelsea-Man City FA Cup semi-final watch-along on That's Football tomorrow. Please, Chelsea, somebody knock them blue moon oil shits out of something. Somebody knock them out. And, I'm Grand Theft Auto tonight if you want to watch that. Big shout out to Cards Plug, 40% off. Make sure you check it out through the link in the video description. Totally customizable. And I'll speak to you on to the next one. Thanks for watching.